And boy, you need those sometimes. My friend Bob Buford, son Ross, they got a call, his son was missing. He was camping out on the river, the Rio Grande River, with a couple of buddies, and they get this stupid idea that what it would be like to be a legal alien and swim across the Rio Grande River, except it was January, and only one of them made it. And Bob got everything that money could buy, helicopters and trackers. And that afternoon, he's on a bluff with an old guy that tracked illegal aliens for over 30 years. He said, "What's the chances I'll ever see my son again?" He says, "Not good." And he said, "I was thinking of jumping off the cliff." I mean, Ross's only child, he loved that kid more than anybody could love anybody. And all of a sudden he remembered Proverbs 3:5. Trust in God with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Because it doesn't make any sense for a 23-year-old kid to die. One of my colleagues just lost his 14-year-old granddaughter. She got sick and went to the hospital, and something went wrong, either with medicine or all. And I got him on the phone, and I'm crying with him. And I said, "You know, my only thing to you, Dev, is trust in God with all your heart and not lean on your own understanding." It doesn't make any sense. And so Bob suddenly said, "That saved my life." Because I thought, well, I just missed out on 30 years with Ross, but what's that compared to eternity? And there's important things to be done. So reading scriptures and good stuff, as Charlie Tremendous Jones used to say, you're going to be the same person year after year, except the books you read and the people you meet. A fourth habit he had is he had a small group that he could be more vulnerable with. He took Peter and John and James away, and we all need a small group that we can be more vulnerable with, and a group that maybe can be more honest with us and all. Do you have a small accountability group? And then finally, Phil and I thought this should be a habit, unconditional love. He trusted the unconditional love of his father. And I say to parents all the time, how many of you love your kids, And they all laugh, put their hands up. How many of you love your kids only if they're successful, if they're good athletes, good students? People don't put their hands up. I say, you mean you love your kids unconditionally? Yeah. Well, what if you accept that unconditional love for yourself? What if you realized that you can't earn enough, you can't perform well enough, you can't sell enough, you can't do anything to get any more love, you get all the love there is? Then you're going to have a different perspective on life and feedback and all. So one of the things I think so important for people who in their hearts and their heads, and they want to get it in their hands to be servant leaders, is they got to find a way to enter their day more slowly. Because Norman and I said, and I think it's really true, we all have two selves. We have an external task-oriented self that's used to getting jobs done. And then we have an inner, thoughtful, reflective self. And which of those two selves wakes up quicker in the morning? It's the external task-oriented. What happens? The alarm goes off. Has anybody ever told you what a stupid term that is? I mean, why isn't it the opportunity clock? Or it's going to be a great day. Alarm! Boom! Bang! You jump out of bed in your task-oriented self. You're trying to eat while you're washing. You jump in the car. You got your cell phone. You're running this meeting, that meeting, here, there, and all. Finally get home 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, absolutely exhausted. Fall into bed. Don't even have enough energy to say goodnight to somebody who's lying next to you. The next day, boom, you're out of there again. And I find a lot of good-intentioned people are caught in a rat race. And Lily Tomlin, the great philosopher from Hollywood, one time said the problem with a rat race is even if you win it, you're still a rat. And that's why I think we need to enter our day more slowly so we can recalibrate who we want to be in the world. So we have a higher chance of maybe doing that. But if we don't, then we're just going to race around. I met a president one time, just blew my mind. Whenever he's got a problem, he calls all the people in that can give him information on the problem. And after they get all the information, he said, okay, we're going to go to solution now. Before we do that, I want you to just spread out around the building, go take a walk and all. for about a half an hour, and I want you to quiet yourself, no telephone, nothing to read and all, and I want you to look for the answer within. And he said it blows his mind, the clarity and the decision-making capacity to come back when people have a chance to quiet themselves and think through something without all kinds of distractions. And also, I think half of our problem on not behaving in our good intentions is that we don't give ourselves any space to recalibrate who we want to be. So that at the end of the day, you know, I never was a journal writer, but because, you know, I had no friends who do journals in 4 colors and write poetry, you know, and I'm a competitor enough that I'm going to write journals. I want to have one of the best journals around. But Bill Hybels, you know, he said he was the same until he was the chaplain with the Chicago Bears when Singletary was there. And Singletary's a great faith-based guy. And so Bill would lead a Bible study on Monday morning, and after Bible study they would watch the game films from the weekend. They would identify what went well, that they thought was good, and then what didn't go that needed to change. Bill's driving home and he said, man, that's a journal. And I tell you, if you would write a journal at the end of the day that starts off with praisings, what did you do today that's consistent with who you want it to be? And pat yourself in the back, and then put redirections. What did you do today that you'd love if you had another shot at it to redo? And maybe it's something you ought to go and apologize for, and maybe ask forgiveness or something, you know. But if you kept a track and you started your day slowly and got a chance to really set a vision of who you want to be, and then you kind of give yourself a score at the end of the day, that's a powerful thing to run your life. And so the thing about servant leadership is it's so powerful for everybody around you, but it's so powerful for you too. I mean, it's win-win, because I see people who are servant leaders with inner peace, with kind of a quiet joy in them. And I think why? Because they're doing good things, but they're also constantly self-examining themselves because they want to behave on their good intentions. I think that's so key. And that gets back to the heart. I think the heart and the habits are just 2 pieces I never was into before, but man, are they